Okay, now starting with these two guys, these are our second to last two warm-ups. The ones you should have 13 and 14 done on the other side. If you could just check your warm-ups, make sure that 13 and 14 are done. Um, okay. This is what I taught you yesterday. As you can see why I had to save the warm-ups for now. Okay, step one. Look at the operation that is being performed in the problem. Okay, this is subtraction, but they're exponents, so it's division. Okay, so be careful when you write it though. Log base 4. The first thing they give you goes on the top. The second thing they give you goes on the bottom. And then equals 3. Okay, I'm going to pause right there. I need you to make sure you understand where all of the pieces went. The x minus 5 went to the top. The first 3 they gave you went to the bottom. And the second 3 they gave you is on the other side of the equals. Okay, do you see where the pieces parts all went? Okay, now, after you figure out the operation and condense it down to one log, you ask yourself, do I cross out the logs or do I do Guinan circle? What type of problem is this? Is it cross out or Guinan circle? Nice. Okay, so 4 to the third equals x minus 5 over 3. Yeah, I'm gonna do it in a different color though, because I'm gonna be fancy now. So put that over 1, and then I'm gonna do this because my math 1 class likes it. Okay, so 1 times x minus 5 is x minus 5. And then 4 cubed is 64 times 3 is something. Okay, and then plus 5. Okay, now this might be the hardest part about the problem is to check. Okay, make yourself do it, guys. So math log base 4. Okay, so remember, x is not x anymore. We're plugging this back in. So 197 minus 5 minus math log base 4 of 3. And what do I want it to equal? 3. Nice. Okay. Number 11. Step 1, operation is multiplication. Log base 9, x plus 19 times x equals log base 9 of 66. Okay. Now, gonna make sure that you understand where all of the pieces went. So it's plus, so it became times, and then it to one log, first thing times the second thing. Yeah, okay, so then you ask yourself, is this a Guinan circle or cross out? Cross out, great job. Okay, and that's the only good thing about this problem. Mm-hmm. it 23 and -3? No,
Negative
No.
22 and 3.
-22 and 3. Mouse,
Or
oh, 22 and negative. I was so close, man. Oh, the excitement. Okay, -22 plus 19 plus okay, I got an error. And don't freak out. What did I tell you guys about the error? And once you guys start to get like used to it, you'll be able to tell without doing the whole calculator deal. But okay, now I'm gonna be really lazy and hit 2 or go to, and then I can change these -22s to 3s. That's just so lazy, Mrs. Talbot. I know. Okay, so there's the left side, and now the right side is nice. So 1.91 equals 1.91. Okay, any questions about either of those two before we move on to something else, which is definitely geometry related? Are you sure? Done with the warm-ups. We don't need to pack it at all anymore, actually. Other than I was going to take questions on the mid-chapter, but except for the triangles, because you couldn't do that part yet. Yeah. Also, because we didn't want to kill you at your first night. We thought you'd be exhausted. Aren't we nice, ladies? Okay. Right. Welcome to AP Art. By the way, I'm recording on this video and I'm saying to all of you, none of my pictures are to scale. None of my pictures are to scale. None of my pictures are to scale. I don't know what those angles actually are. I just won them with a ruler. So if we come across one that says 105 and it doesn't look obtuse, that's because I'm special and I just drew a triangle. Yeah. No, not to scale. Okay, so number 63 is very it's I don't know, it's just a little bit of a math 2 review. I just want to remind you of a couple of things from math 2. Actually, the first thing is math 1. That's a lie. The first thing is math 2, then the second thing is going to be math 1, and then the third thing is going to be math 2 again. Okay. This is called an obtuse triangle. because one of the angles is over 90. That's not what I was here to tell you. But the first thing I want to remind you about from math 2 is that these sides across from the vertices. Okay, so I'm going to use some vocab here. These are called vertices of a triangle. And you might think of it like angle A, angle B, and angle C. The wider angle A is, makes this longer. Let me say that again. The wider angle A is, makes this longer. So if you take your hands and you go like this, okay, pretend that there's something between your fingertips, and notice that the more you open it up, the wider that gets, the longer the side gets across. Okay, so it's a labeling thing. So this is angle A, and across from it is side A, little like lowercase. So the vertices themselves are capitals, and then across from it is the lowercase. Okay, this is angle B, which makes that side B, little b, and then angle big C, side little c. Okay. Next thing I want to remind you of is from math 1. How do I find the missing angle in a triangle? Triangle angle sum theorem. No, you're perfect. You're wonderful. Okay. And what you do is you say the three angles add to 180. So 180 minus 105 minus 63 is 12. That's totally not 12 because I don't draw the scale, but theoretically that's 12. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to remind you was from math 2, which is how to label it. Second was from math 1, that you could find the missing angle in a triangle by adding them to 180. And the third is what I like to call the French fry theorem, and I don't teach math 2 anymore because I don't like it, but if I did, I would call this the French fry theorem. And the French fry theorem says that the longest side is across from the biggest angle, what we were just doing with our hands. And I call it the French fry theorem because this guy would be the large side because he's across from the large angle. This guy would be the medium side because he's across from the medium angle. And this guy would be the small side because he's across from the small angle. And that just reminds me of ways that you can order French fries, small, medium, and large. What? I know. Okay, so that means that A is the small, A is the biggest, which is bigger than C, which is bigger than B. No, it's just whatever letter is there. Correct. Yeah. Sometimes it's like PQR, sometimes it's like RST. Just depends on the problem. Okay. Anybody still writing on number 63? Because I need to make sure that you can all see number 64 in its entirety. It's a drawer. It's a sketcher. It's AP art class. From 67? Again, not to scale. What's wrong? have two goals in this problem. The first is to find all the letters, and we're gonna use SOHCAHTOA for that. This problem is all SOHCAHTOA. And then we're going to find the area of the triangle. You guys remember the area of the triangle formula?
Yeah.
Base times height
Yeah, I like that.
divided by 2. Yeah. You can say half base times height or base times height divided by 2. That's the same thing. Okay. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to solve for A first, but this diagram's too complicated. So I'm going to cover this up. And I'm going to cover this up. Okay, and now we're going to transport ourselves back to your Math 2 class and say, all right, to find A, do I need to use sine, cosine, or tangent? Is this SO, CA, or TOA? Okay. Yep, so you look at the angle, opposite hypotenuse. Opposite hypotenuse is sine. Okay, so sine 42 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. That's supposed to be an A, by the way. It's like a 9. I'm going to fix it. It doesn't really, that's no better, but that's fine. Okay. Times 4 on both sides. Okay, now we are going to use the calculator all period, as I said. Make sure that your calculator is in degree mode before doing any of these triangles. So you need to look at the top. If you have an older calculator, you need to hit the mode button and make sure that degrees is highlighted like this. If it's not, you need to scroll to it and hit enter on top of it, which will select it. Everybody make sure you're in degree mode. And then when you want to get out of this menu, you can go second mode. We'll get you back to the original screen. Okay, so 4 times sine 42. And we're going to go round to the nearest tenth for this one. 2.7 equals A. What's wrong? You wrote. Oh, I'm sorry. But it's really 2.68, so I can't on that one. Okay. Now, I would like you to ignore A and tell me which one of the trig functions I need to use to find B. Cosine, right. Adjacent hypotenuse. Cosine 42 degrees equals adjacent over hypotenuse. We're going to call this 3.0. Okay. Now I'm going to come back with my different color and I'm going to label the ones that I have because I kind of need this guy to be able to find these guys. Yeah, okay, so go ahead and do that if that helps your brain. Okay, which one of the trig functions do I need to use to find C? Tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Wrong color, Mrs. Talbot. Okay, now this is the first time that we have C in the bottom, or we have a letter in the bottom. I like to multiply both sides by the denominator still. And then divide by tangent 26. Some of you guys told me at the beginning of the year you just had it memorized that if it's on the bottom, you divide, and that's fine. I don't care. Okay. And then if I get my post-it notes back out, I found C. I found all of that. Okay. Which trig function should I use to find X? Sine opposite over hypotenuse. Unfortunately, it's on the bottom again. Mrs. Talbot's running out of space. I'm gonna go 6.2. Okay, then I'm gonna come back up here. I'm gonna label this 6.2, and this was 5.5. Okay, last thing for 64 is finding the area. Okay, so I have a question. Looking up at this triangle, take a look at the triangle. How long is the whole base? 8.5. 8.5. Yeah, okay. So 8.5 times 2.7 divided by 2. Yep. So I'm going to go 11.5. And then we're going to go units squared for area. Okay, what if I told you that there was a way that you could get the original triangle? Okay, so ignore A, B, and C, the letters. I put those there for a reason. What if I told you, and try not to be mad at me, because I'm not your math teacher. What if I told you there was a way you could do one thing to get X and the area? You do. I'm not. Okay. Does it make sense that because of the way triangles are constructed, they kind of have to be proportional? Okay, so what I want you to do for number 65, and I'm not going to move it yet because I still have people writing. We're going to draw a little baby one of this, but it's not going to have all the parts. You'll see. Okay, so hold on. This is a long problem. I'm going to show you a way to do this problem. I'm like an infomercial lady up here. I'm like trying to sell you something. I'm going to show you a way to do this in 2 steps instead of 5. It's going to be great. Okay. All right. So draw me this same triangle. Do you guys see that this is the same triangle you had before? It's just a baby version. And the reason is because you don't need all that stuff, because I'm going to show you how to do this with a proportion. And it's going to be great, except for you're going to be mad. really SOHCAHTOA is super important. It's just that sometimes there's a faster way. You will. Okay, it's called the law of sines. And what it does is it relies on proportions to find missing sides and angles. You have to have 3 of the 4 pieces. So I want you to see kind of like how you have 2 sides and 2 angles. You kind of have to have that set up for it to work. Okay, but first thing I want you to do is remember what I said about the naming. This angle determines how long this side is, and this angle determines how long that side is. So draw in your arrows. Okay, this is the law of sines. The sine of an angle over the side across equals the sine of an angle. Why did I put the degree symbol on the outside? What the heck? Got so excited about the law of sines. Sine of the angle over the side across. Sine of the angle over the side across equals sine of the angle over the side across. Okay, now we cross multiply. X times sine 26 equals 4 times sine 42. Cross multiply. And then get x by itself. Okay, and how would I like you to type this in the calculator? In one fell swoop. So there's my one fell swoop, 4 times sine 42 divided by sine 26. Okay, now take a look at what we got for x in the previous problem. What did we get? Almost. Okay, which one's better? Well, okay. Now, which one's better because we did a lot less work? That's not what I'm asking. Which one's more accurate?
The other one.
Okay, how many times did I round on that one? And I rounded and I used a rounded number in my rounding, and then I rounded with a rounded number and rounded again, and then I rounded. Did I do any rounding here? No. That's the one fell swoop gives you a much more accurate number because I didn't round anything. Okay, so it took us all of this to get x. And this took us to get x. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to find the area very quickly. And it's called side angle side. And please do not freak out. We're not doing any flow charts. It's just called side angle side area formula. It's just a new area formula that we don't teach you in math too. Area equals 1/2 side times side times sine of the angle between. And this is why it's called side angle side, but I'll show you in a second. Sine of the angle between. Okay. So I'm gonna come back in with a different color. What is X? 6.1. Okay, I have side, side, and then what's the angle between? Oh. 112. Okay, do you guys see my side angle side? Okay, so if you have two sides and the angle between, you can find the area without finding the base or the height, and you don't even care what type of triangle it is. It works every time. And this might be the first time you've ever typed sine of a number bigger than 90 in your calculator. You might not have even thought about that being possible. Area is 11.3. Okay. Which one is more accurate, 11.3 or 11.5? 11.3, because I only rounded once. And to get 11.5, I had to round and then round and then round again and round and keep rounding and round and just rounding and rounding.
I think there's a lot more.
Yeah, it's efficient. It's your Corvette, not your Camry. Okay, now we need to practice it again, and then I need to teach you how to find an angle using it, and then we're done. But let me make sure everyone has it all. Okay. And you might be thinking to yourself, why would we use SOHCAHTOA when I can clearly do this on any triangle? And that's a good question. Hmm? Okay. So for the law of sines, I'm going to write it in the formula. I want to make sure that you guys all see that it can be used for any labels. Okay, so there's the log sines. But it really is important to me that you guys understand that capital A and little a are across from each other. You remember we talked about that in number 63? So I don't really love the formula. I just say to myself, sine of the angle over the side across equals sine of the angle over the side across. Okay, so the first thing I do is draw my arrows. That helps me figure out the side across. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my example. I'm gonna say, okay, 58 determines X. 24 determines 12. Sine of the angle over the side across equals sine of the angle over the side across. Okay, X times sine 24 equals 12 times sine 58. Divide. And then one fell swoop. The reason I put 25.0 is almost all of your, like your review assignment and worksheets and things usually say round to the nearest 10. So I just did that. Okay. Now, side angle, side area formula. I'm going to write it again in symbols, in letters, and then I'm going to say what the things are in case you hate the letters. Okay. So that's the way the side angle, side area formula will look if you like Google it. But this is the side. This is a different side. And this is the angle between. Okay, so up here on my picture, I'm going to put X is 25.0. And then I need to find the angle between. So I'm going to say 180 minus 58 minus 24. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Okay, and that is 98. And there's my side angle side. $98 degrees. That's funny. Okay, now I'm lazy, so in the calculator, I'm going to type 0.5 times 12 times 25 sine 98. Mm-hmm. I told you it wasn't bad. We have one more to do though. It's not hard either. 60, yeah. Last one is 67. Problem 6, 7. Not 6, 8, not 6, 6, not 6, 5. I watch this slot machine playing YouTuber like pretty much every single day, as someone in here already knows. And he made a 6, 7 joke the other day, and I was like, there's an old dude. The last problem, 6, 7, they're going to do the same thing, but I need to teach you what happens if the angle is missing and not the side. What did you guys do when an angle was missing? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be inverse. It's no big deal, but I just want to have one for you. So you can follow the notes. The hardest part about these, I think, is making sure your calculator is in degrees before you start. Now, if you're using your own calculator, it shouldn't change up all the time. It'll only change if you like reset your calculator or like it really, really dies, like a super, like the battery just like it dies. But otherwise, it should stay. Okay, first step. This angle determines that side. This angle determines that side. Any questions about my arrows? Okay, so sine 120 over 11.3 equals sine of x over 6. Okay, 11.3 times the sine of x equals 6 times the sine of 120. Cross multiply. Okay, now this is the only problem where I'm gonna write all of this like this because it's the first time we're doing it. Okay, so first thing I did was set up my proportion. Then I cross multiplied. And my goal is to get x by itself. So the first thing I did was divide by 11.3 on both sides. Okay, and now I'm here and I need to undo sine. I'm just gonna write it like this one time. You don't have to write it like this every time. You can sine inverse much, like you don't have to write the whole thing out. I just wanted you to see step by step for one time before I skipped steps. Okay, so I am going to type this in one fell swoop. Sine inverse 6 times sine 120 divided by 11.3. Everybody see my one fell swoop? Okay. Yeah, but we don't need to find the area for this one. I just wanted to show you how to find the angle. But you could, if you had this, and then you could find this, and then you could do side angle side area formula. Okay. What is the homework? Finish the worksheet. Okay, grab the worksheet real quick, and take a look and let me know if I can answer any questions for you before you go. Other than the triangles, because I want you to try those. But take a look at the rest of the worksheet. Did you guys see my typo in the worksheet? Look at number 18. I circled my typo for you. What is that supposed to say? 16. Okay, you want to know something funny? When I was making the packet, Miss Rice was like, that's a typo. You need to fix that. And she circled it. And then for some reason, I just slid that paper back into the packet and copied it like that. Never changed it, never. Cool. Cool. Hey, I already found the typo though. Any questions from the worksheet? Now that you know how to do the triangles. Okay.